Hey fam, what's up, what's up, what's up? This is Robert Anton here, robertanton.com, and I am coming to you once again with some no-frills commentary from a singer, and I am talking about The Voice. Let me tell you, this is the second round, battle rounds, second episode, and it's hard to still come down from last week's final battle. But it was just a little different energy tonight. But there were some good battles, and I'm going to get right into it and tell you what happened. First up, Team Christina came off, and they started out a really good start, I thought, with Jeff McBride versus Sarah Hill. And they were singing Chain of Fools, Aretha Franklin. Jeff got to work with Lionel Richie, and Lionel Richie said that he just loved Jeff, and he had to like stand up and get back because like Jeff came out with all this voice and just like blew him away, right? He advised him to lose his sunglasses to bring the eye contact with the audience and with the person he was battling. Jewel worked with Sarah and told her to bring more emotion and more heart to the thing because she knew that, you know, Jeff was going to be very big and very powerful and all this. The only thing I got to say for that is she said the same thing to Anthony last week and he went home. Okay. Not to be mean, but you know. So I wrote, in the battle, they had great harmony and chemistry, and Jeff looked fine without the sunglasses. I didn't really see any problems with his eyes. I really liked their interaction, and both had some really good moments in this duet. Jeff even fell to his knees at the end of the song. I thought that was like, oh, you better work, boy. You know, bring that just that little extra theatricality. But Christina chose Sarah Hill, and again, you know, both of them were great singers. Both of them did their thing, so I don't think she could have made a bad choice. You know, either way with me, I was happy. Next up, Team Blake had Charlotte Sometimes versus Lex Land, and they sang Pumped Up Kicks by Foster the People. Charlotte worked with Kelly Clarkson, and Lex worked with Miranda Lambert. I think at first they were kind of just like off in their own worlds doing their own thing. Then they finally started interacting and I thought it came off a little better. It was a little strange to me and I didn't care much for either of their performances. Blake chose Charlotte. He said because he couldn't take his eyes off her and that's one of the things that makes the star. But hold on a minute. I thought this was The Voice and it was all about the voice, not about the look. But anyway, I know what he meant. Yeah. Next up was Team CeeLo, Sarah Golden versus Juliet Sims singing Stay With Me by Rod Stewart. Sarah worked with Babyface and Juliet worked with Neo, and he advised her to pick her spots and build her performance because she was really hitting hard like right at the beginning and just trying to, you know, totally just smash it. And he was saying, you know, you have to build. If you start here and do this, then at the end when you do it, it's not as special. And that is sometimes something that performers need to know. You know, you want to catch at the beginning, but you want to catch lightly and then you bring your harder hitting stuff, especially when it's only like, what, 90 seconds? Bring the harder hitting stuff as you go and build your performance to the end. You're like all the way up here. Yeah, so I thought it was good advice. And Sarah said she was going to be herself. And you know, one thing about being yourself as an artist, you know, something I heard a really long time ago was be yourself, but you have to be yourself as an artist times 1,000. You have to be yourself times 1,000. So that's something that makes you special in real life or when people are watching you, you know, when you're just doing your thing. You need to like magnify that 1,000 times in order to be this great artist and to catch this. Because when you're on the stage, you know, and you just being yourself, it comes off as kind of pedestrian, kind of like, oh, well, yeah, I would see that all the time. But when you have this something special and it's 1,000 times, it's in your face, it's very, yeah, then we're more likely to notice it, love it or hate it. You know, it's kind of, you get some reaction. And I think that is just something that I just want to point out for my performers who are watching. Okay, so when they started the battle, why did they remind me of Sonny and Cher? Just the way they were dressed. You know, she had the long wig and on the one hand, the suit. I was just like, what is this? Juliet was intense. I mean, just really intense from the very beginning. She didn't need all the, even like just putting it back some, she was still so intense. And the song really didn't seem to fit Sarah very well. I thought she did some nice stuff with it, but it was a good job, but it just didn't stand out. And I think I wrote on Twitter, you know, this song choice so favored Juliet, and naturally CeeLo chose Juliet because it just, in this battle, it was just no competition. It was all the way Juliet. Next up, Team Adam had Whitney Meyer versus Kim Yarbrough singing No More Drama, Mary J. Blige. Oh, and to think these shows are supposed to be against each other, Mary J. Blige was just on American Idol. Who they think they're kidding? They ain't against each other. Anyway, Whitney works with Alanis Morissette, who advised her just to be more present, you know, just to be there in the moment and giving out all this energy. And Robin Thicke worked with Kim Yarbrough. In the battle, Kim's voice came off as so rich and thick next to Whitney's thinner sound. Even in the beginning, like, I think Whitney should have started, because when Kim started and you had this rich, thick, beautiful tone, and then Whitney started, you were missing something. It was lacking something. It was like, it was just thin and it was tinny and it just wasn't, you know, it wasn't there. It wasn't present. They both did good on their parts, you know, they both, you know, brought a little bit of their thing to it. There were no big fireworks here, but it was laid back, it was sedate, it was good. I think there was a lot more stage presence coming out of Whitney, but you were just drawn to Kim. Every time she opened her mouth, I was just drawn away from whatever else was going on, trying to see what she was doing, trying to hear what she was doing, and she was just talking about presence. She was just there, just doing her thing, and it drew all focus. So when they were giving out, you know, each judge talks on each person. I generally don't say what everybody says, because you can watch that. You know, I'm just trying to give you a basic, or otherwise it's going to be 40 minutes long, almost as long as the show, right? It is a 2-hour show. But Blake was giving this thing, and he cursed, and they didn't even try to bleep him out. He said, "Son of a bitch." And I was like, no after beep or nothing. They just let it ride, right? Let's see what's that gonna do to the censors. Adam chose Kim, and I wrote correctly, because there was just, you know, even CeeLo was like, oh, this is the grown woman song, you know, and this girl came trying to, and it just wasn't a good fit for her voice. Next up, Team Xtina had Lee Cook versus Lindsay Paveo singing Heart-Shaped Box by Nirvana. Lee gets to work with Jewel, and they had a lot of criticism for him, just a lot, just so much stuff that he needed to go back and work on. Lionel Richie worked with Lindsay, and he tried to get her to work on her stage presence. They both seemed connected to the material on stage. It's just, it wasn't my type of song. It was, I think they made good connections with the music, and they seemed to be presenting it well, but I didn't have any investment in it. It was nothing in it that was really pulling me in. The vocals were a little strange to me, and it just wasn't spectacular, so I didn't really care about it. CeeLo or someone said that it was creepy, you know, and I was like, yeah, but there have been creepy songs that I've heard that I've been like, oh, you know, it ain't really, you know, but this just wasn't happening for me. Oh, during the performance, also, CeeLo was doing something, and it looked like he was trying to dance, but to me, it looked like he was trying to scratch his back, you know, like on the chair. I was like, is he trying to scratch his back? Just non sequitur of the night. So Christina chose Lindsay, and like I said, for me, it didn't really make a difference. Last but not least, Team CeeLo had Jamar Rogers going up against Jamie Lono singing I Wanna Know What Love Is by Foreigner. Jamie worked with Babyface and Jamar worked with Neo. Okay, they had a really nice soft start with some good harmonies together. Even like on the beginning ad-libs, they had, you know, harmony, and I was like, oh, that's nice, that's really nice. But when Jamar hit that first part, the big note that he had, I was sold. I just wrote, I was sold. Jamie cracked a few times in his vocal, and then in parts of it, he was just a side dish. I mean, because Jamar was just, he was singing for his life. I wrote he was singing for his life. He had a very touching performance, and I mean, he was just all into it. He was singing, he was performing, you could feel the emotion. And Jamie was just off to the side, sometimes giving a little commentary or whatever to me, and he was a second thought. They gave each other big hugs at the end of the performance and when the winner of the battle was chosen. And I thought this was just, I just thought this was like, this was a no-brainer. CeeLo chose Jamar, and there was no other way that this was going to go from that performance. And I think even from the rehearsal and stuff, like when Jamie kept when Jamie kept cracking and stuff, I just don't think it was in his voice. And maybe in a different song, but even when I think about it in a different song, I think still Jamar probably would have stole the day. What did you guys think? Did you get invested in all of the songs? Did you like some of them and didn't like others? I don't know. It really seems like sometimes you can really choose a song that's really better for one person and not so great for the other. And sometimes that person can turn it around depending on how they handle it. But most of the time, you know, the battle goes to the person that the song fits like a glove. All right, and that's when we talk about song choice. That's when the judges are talking about song choice on every single show, because something that fits you really well and then you perform the hell out of it is going to get you over more than something that, oh, might be a strange choice and you don't do that well. This is Robert Anton, robertanton.com. Check out my So You Want to Be a Singer series here, right here on YouTube. I also have an originals playlist that you can see some of my original material. I'm out.